Hello everyone, this is Jennifer. In this video, we're going to look into MNCs and international business. So, what is an MNC? So, MNC or a multinational company is a company basically operating in two or more countries. So, in the words of United Nations Commission on Multinational Corporations, a multinational corporation can be defined as a corporation is a corporation which operates in addition to the country in which it is incorporated in one or more other countries. So it's just not operating in one country, but it is operating in multi countries or in many countries. In short, basically it is a company which operates in several countries. So what are the features of MNC? So the features of MNC, the first one is worldwide operations. So a multinational company extends its operation to two or more countries. So they establish in one country, which is known as their headquartered country, which is their home country, and they extend branches, which is known as a subsidiaries or affiliations to other countries. So it basically operates in more countries. Second one, large scale operations. So these companies basically operate on a large scale as they trade in more than one country. So their scale of production or their scale of operations would be larger in extent. Third one, optimum utilization of resources. So multinational companies are extended to many countries. So in the sense, there is a multiple and there is a maximum utilization of the resources in the country they are operating. It can be in any aspect, the labor, the land, the capital, the technology, anything. Next, you have advanced technology. So MNCs invest a huge amount of money on their technology because they're just not operating on one country, they're operating on different countries. So to categorize or to cater to the needs of different countries, they have an advanced technology facilitation. So they make use of the latest and advanced technology which are available in the world markets. Fifth one, objective. The main objective of a MNC is basically to maximize profits by reducing the transportation cost. Hence, they extend their branches to different countries. So, by making use of this comparatively cheaper raw materials, labor, other resources, they help in achieving their main objective of maximizing profits by uh, operating in vast markets or their host countries. The next one, enhanced efficiency. So multinational companies can produce large volume of quality products at basically a cheaper price because they use the optimum use the resources which are available at cheaper price in the markets. Monopolistic or oligopolistic market. So generally multinational companies supply large quantities of quality products and services in the international market. Hence, they create a separate brand name which help them in capturing the foreign market. Sometimes they can even control a huge market individually or in groups. So basically, they have the monopolistic market, meaning to tell controlling the entire market, making their own decisions on their prices or on the varieties that they provide, ruling the market. Next one, ownership and control. The ownership of an MNC is shared basically by the parent company and its subsidiary company based on their capital investment. However, the parent company manages and controls the operations of various subsidiaries that are situated in different parts of the countries. The next one is timing flexibility. So some of the internationally operating companies have to comply with strict payment schedule. Others can be delayed, but payments should happen on the scheduled time. So MNCs can extend trade credit to the other subsidiary through the open account term, saying 90 to 180 days. So basically, the payment of fees, the royalties, the salaries, anything can be modified when all the parties are agreed to the agreement that are related. So there can be timing flexibility depending on the country, depending on the agreement, depending on their parties. So the 10th one is value addition through tax deduction. So by shifting profits from high tax to low tax nations, MNCs can reduce their global tax payments. So the next one we are going to talk about is the difference between the Indian companies, MNCs, global companies, and the transnational company. So first let us look into the difference between the Indian company and the MNCs. So Indian company is basically an organization which is formed with the central and state government approval to act as an artificial person to carry on business with India. So it basically a company that is registered under the Indian Companies Act with the approval of the state and central government, telling that it has to operate in the Indian economy. So that is being termed as an Indian company. But whereas foreign company, that is a MNC, is a corporation that has its facilities and other assets in at least one country other than its home country. So it basically it is operating in home country and it has its branches in more than one country, that is its subsidiary branches in the host countries. Second difference is homogeneous market. So heterogeneous market or a homogeneous market. So first let us look into the meaning of it. So homogeneous market is a market in which each of the products traded in the market are more or less which are the same kind of products. Okay, so the very competitive products in the market. So one product is and the other product are very similar in the market, whereas heterogeneous market refers to a market situation where the buyers who buy the product are not found homogeneous, meaning to tell are not found similar, so they have different kinds of needs, habit, choices, nature, etc. So one example of a homogeneous product could be cement, steel, chemical inputs which are coming under the same category. One example of a heterogeneous product could be a PC or a Mac, which are technological product but which are quite different. So Indian companies are more into homogeneous market which are quite similar products. Heterogeneous market are for MNCs. So Indian companies mostly concentrate on the homogeneous product, providing products which are available in the market, a substitute product. Okay, whereas MNCs are mostly concentrating on products that are quite different, which are heterogeneous market. So Indian companies face only Indian culture. Okay, so they only concentrate on Indian culture, whereas MNCs have to face different kind of cultures because they operate in different parts of the country. Okay, the next one is Indian company needs to be incorporated and registered under the Indian Company Act of 1956, whereas MNCs which needs to be incorporated under several countries laws and business regulation as per the country is demanding in which they are operating. And the next one is Indian company basically manufacture and sell their products keeping Indian customers in their mind, whereas MNCs manufacture products and provide services to sale to satisfy various categories of customers all over the country, which are global. The next difference that we are going to look into is the difference between global companies and transnational companies. So looking into our next topic, which is global companies and transnational companies. So first of all, what is a global company? So global company is a company which operates in more than one country. So it basically produces in home country and focuses on marketing those products globally, or produces the products globally and focuses on marketing these products domestically. So certain operations can be centralized and there are certain operations which are decentralized depending on their operations. So global corporations implement parent company strategies wherever they operate rather than formulating strategies separately for each market. So what is a transnational company? A transnational company produces, markets, invests and operates across the different countries or across globally. So let us look into the difference between a transnational company and a global company. So the first one is a global company operates it basically refers to a company that operates in more than one country or that operates in foreign countries, whereas transnational corporates produces, markets, invests and operates across the world. Second one, it is a precede stage of transnational company. So first a company will become an Indian company, then it will start operating in more than one country, then it will become a multinational company, then it will start operating in different parts of the world depending on their headquarters strategies, then it will be known as global company. After that, when they start to produce, market, invest, operate globally depending on the country whichever they are operating, then it will be termed as transnational companies. So the precede stage, a stage before a company becoming a transnational company, is a global company stage. So it is a precede stage of transnational companies, and transnational company is the next stage of global company. So only after you becoming a global company you can become a transnational company. Next one is a global company thinks globally and acts globally. So basically it thinks globally and also it acts globally. So thinking on aspects that are globally accepted, that is how the company will operate. A transnational company thinks globally but acts locally. For example, McDonald's is a company which is not from India. Okay, it is from US, but when it is operating in India, it looks into the recipes of India and provides the food products according to the Indian perception. So it thinks globally but acts locally wherever it is operating. So the next one is global company is a regiocentric in its orientation, whereas transnational company is geocentric in its orientation. So what do you mean by regiocentric and geocentric? So regiocentric is basically an approach which is adopted by a company wherein it adopts a marketing strategy across a group of countries which is grouped under one category as A. So in that category A, whichever countries come, they have a similar taste, preferences, etc. Whereas geocentric is basically you get to follow the approach keeping in mind globally. So it is a method wherein wherein the company looks at the opportunities on a global scale. Okay, so globally what is accepted. Okay, so they basically produce in such a way. So the next one is product and process development. So basically global companies analyze the product or process development in order to ensure the competitive advantage in the market, whereas a transnational company analyze the opportunities regarding the availability in resources, customers, markets, technology and development, etc. So the next one, organizational transformation. So the next topic we are going to look into is organizational transformation. So organizational transformation is basically a term referring collectively to such a activity like re-engineering, redesigning, redefining the business systems. So in short, it is a process of profound or radical change that occurs in the organization, which leads them to a new directions and takes it directly to different level of effectiveness, basically increasing their efficiency. So what are the strategies of organizational transformation? The first one is transformation through values. So transformation through values. So in the changing business environment, values are basically the guiding force for the companies, and the values are nothing but something that the company holds and which are reflected in its ideal or ethics. So value, individual, or a value is basically a purpose or meaning that a company holds, or values to an organization are basically the foundation on which the organization stands up. So organization can choose different kinds of values depending upon the compatibility to the societal core values or the human urges or the world context or the purpose or operating context. So the transformation of values happen, and depending on the transformation of values, the company moves from one level of organization to a different level of organization. Second one is transformation through organizational development. So most people and organizations are not right prepared for the vastly accelerated pace of change that occurs. Organizational development appears to be one of the primary methods of this. So the development of the organization helps in organizational transformation. The transformation through re-engineering. So re-engineering is basically challenging the operation and even the existence of the fundamental processes. So you basically revolutionize the current process or the current processes. So it just not improves the old way of doing business, it also creates a new way of doing business with less cost, optimum utilization, and with maximization of profits. The next one is transformation through competitive benchmarking. So benchmarking is a process of measuring the products, services or practices in order to see whether they are against the toughest competitions or those companies recognized as the Indian leaders. So benchmarking, so basically a level wherein above this level whoever comes, they are very competitive advantages, or they are known as the industry leaders. So transformation through competitive benchmarking, you set a benchmark in your products, you set a benchmark in the way your organization functions. So at that time there is an organization transformation because you get recognized. The next one is transformation of Six Sigma. So transformation of Six Sigma is basically a statistical parameter which is used to describe the variations. So it basically focuses on achieving your targeted results. So you basically get in your standard variation, etc., and it helps in achieving your targets. So the next topic is what are the merits and demerits of MNCs. So the merits of MNCs are basically categorized into two types. One is merits to host countries and merits to home countries. Since they have their headquarters in their home country and they operate in different countries which are known as host countries. So what advantages do they provide to the host country? So the first one is increase in capital investment. So through capital investment, multinational companies basically helps to increase the investment level in the host country. Second one, transfer of technology. MNCs help in the transfer of technology from the developing country or from the developed country to the developing and underdeveloped country. Third one is managerial revolution. So they have brought about managerial revolution in the host country through professional management, employment of highly sophisticated management techniques. The next one, increase exports and decrease their imports. So MNCs enable the host countries to increase their exports and decrease their imports by helping them specialize in technology, helping them optimally utilizing the resources, bringing out managerial revolution. Ultimately, they'll end up in increasing exports and decreasing imports, which is an advantage to the overall economy of the host country. The next one is growth of firms. MNCs help in the growth of firms in host countries by assisting supplies and units which are necessary in the host country's development of firms. Next one is MNCs basically provide superior quality products to the people. The next one is MNCs provide a lot of employment opportunities in the host country through their investment. And the next one is research and development. MNCs basically enable a very effective research and development system. They make a remarkable contribution to the inventions and the innovations. The next one is increase competition. MNCs help to increase competitions and make themselves as a monopolistic firm in the host country. Next one is they basically do not make the monopolistic in the host country, but they help in increasing competition in the host country by providing variety of the products which are available in the market. So basically they reduce a monopolistic system. The next one is optimum utilization of resources in the host country. Next one is what is the merit of MNCs to the home countries. So the home country, the MNCs help the home country basically to acquire the raw materials from the abroad at lower products, acquire technology from other countries, acquire management expertise from the other countries, export components and finished products easily to the foreign markets. They derive huge income by basically operating in different markets, and then you have your job and career opportunities which are increased at the home country through the increasing overseas operation in the different countries. The next topic is demerits of MNCs. So the demerits of MNCs, the first one is the main concentration of MNC is to profit maximization, and they do not look into the development of the host country. So that is one of the demerits. The second one is They basically they are harmful to the national interest of the countries. Why? Because they can undermine the economic autonomy of the countries, host countries. So they lead to the harmful of the national interests of the host countries. The third one is they destroy competition and they acquire monopolistic approach sometimes. And the next one is they do not respect the human rights in the host country, and they have been accused of not respecting the human rights. Their main concentration is on business. Next one is depletion of the non-renewable resources of the host country. So they deplete, they destroy the resources easily. The next one is they cause environmental pollution by setting up their organization, the production units. So the environmental eco-friendly products sometimes are not produced by the MNCs. The next one is they encourage alien culture and undermine the local culture and traditions. So basically bring out a culture which are not the host country's culture, or which are competitive to the host country's culture. The next one is they change the consumption habits of the local people. For example, like KFC's, McDonald's, when it all came, you lose out your tradition system of food. Okay, so they basically change the consumption habits. The next one is they exploit resources to the maximum level, though they are paid slightly higher wages. The next one is they fail to transfer the appropriate technology. So they do not transfer the appropriate technology to the host countries, and they lose control over the economy. So basically MNCs may, the host country sometimes may lose the control over the economy due to the MNCs that are situated and that dominate, that are basically taking over the control of the economy. So these are the various topics which are spoken under the MNCs and international business. Thank you everyone.